We're live. Talk to me. How we doing tonight? What is it, Saturday? Saturday night? We got another edition. Tap in with Tristan. Get everybody on here, man. The page is growing. Talk to me on this Saturday. How we doing? Let's get my guy Tom in here. We got another conversation. Yeah. Uncle Riff, what's going on there, sir? Hope all is well. Let me know. Put something in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me clearly. Let me know if y'all guys can hear me. Sorry, my thing was turned down. Give me something in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. We got another conversation. Page is growing. Jermaine on the check-in. What's going on there, sir? Hope all is well. Put a thumbs up or something in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Ron White, what's going on, boss? Salute to you as well. Where y'all tapping in from, man? Where we at? You know, last live, man, we had a lot of people from all around the country. I know we had Florida, we had Georgia, we had New York. This is gonna be a cool episode, man. This is gonna be a cool episode. I'm excited. I'm excited to get to know my guy. Another big man. Oh, Stony Brook, okay. You're out east with it. What's going on out there, man? I'm in the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth area right now. Somebody go get my guy. Let me see if he in here. Okay. Albie, what's going on? Okay, another Georgia. Okay. I see my guy Tom in there. Let me see if I can get him invited on here. Let me see. Tom, do me a favor. See if you can hit the X button. X to come on camera. See if you can do that for me. You're not coming up. Let me see. Let me see. Albie's back in Hampstead. What's going on there, sir? Hampstead be on the page heavy, holding it down. Facts. What's the weather like out there right now, man? It was hot and then rainy out here. What else we got? Let me see, Tom. Look at the bottom. It should be on the bottom of your screen, Tom. There should be like some pictures. And then I think you can hit X, like a request, X to come on screen. Because you're not showing up. All right. Facebook always tries to do to us in the beginning. They don't want us to pop off right away. They always try to make it a little bit difficult. You look at the bottom, Tom. I don't know if your screen is exactly like mine. Yeah. Somebody help my guy out. You're not coming up as a viewer. There's only a few people that is coming up as a viewer. Tom, you're not coming up as a viewer right now, so I can't ask you to come on. I don't know how to change that. Anybody else know how to change that? Help me out. Help me out so we can go ahead and get this thing popping. Go ahead, man. Invite some people onto this chat real quick. Yes, yeah. Oh yeah. Ask the missus. Ask the missus for sure. She'll probably definitely be able to point you in the right direction. Yeah. Okay. Have a safe flight. Have a safe flight. Somebody get on the plane. Yeah, Mark. Hey, Mark, man. How do we get him on this thing? What's going on, bro? I'm trying to get him on here so I can invite him. Okay. I think we're good. Let's see. Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we live.
Nice. I had to switch to my phone.
Okay, okay.
Hopefully you got some juice. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. How about yourself?
You know, when you talk to...
Hold on, I lost you. Take your phone off mute.
There we go.
Yeah,
Now we're talking.
yeah.
Now we're
Hey,
good. You got me?
uh, yeah, man. All the
Nice.
way live. How I'm looking in here? Because sometimes, man, it just be
You look
my
good,
my.
man. How's that? I could turn this light off.
I think you might be you go. I think you all the way good. In the chat, hey chat. How
I
we?
think that's better. That's better
Yeah, that's good, man.
for sure. What's up?
I'm doing good, man. How's everything going on?
Good. You're like one of those guys that I talked to for like an hour. I felt like I've talked to you for 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, man. I
Yeah,
do,
yeah, yeah.
man.
You're a good guy.
I appreciate that, man. So, listen, man, we're gonna give it like one more minute, and
You
then
take your
get
time.
everybody going. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just introduce the show, and then I'm gonna ask you to introduce yourself and your high school, and then your class,
Cool.
and then we're gonna dive into this conversation. Okay.
Sounds good.
Mark's giving us the sound check.
What's up, Mark?
Yeah, giving us a sound check on this Saturday night. Hey, let me know as we go if my camera is good. If
Good. It wasn't working. I got it.
I
All right,
gotta
thanks.
I gotta adjust it. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I couldn't invite you. So now,
It must be a computer thing, maybe. It seems like the phone
yes,
works well.
yeah,
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 I couldn't figure it out either.
yeah. The
I
computer. I
called my
tried.
wife. She just came down. She was like, "You need help still?" I'm like, "I got it."
Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. When I tried with the computer, it's like missing a couple features, man. So they have you going crazy when you try to do the computer.
All good, all good.
All right,
You
man.
can hear me well enough. All good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your levels are real good.
Nice.
Okay, we're gonna tap in. I'm excited. Okay. All right. So listen, man. I'm gonna get ready to introduce the show, and then I'm gonna send it your way, and then we're gonna really tap in.
Nice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Tap In with Tristan. We got a Facebook Live edition, Long Island Basketball History edition. So for those who have not, please make sure you go ahead and hit the join for this group, and then also hit the subscribe button, because after this, I'm going to upload it to our YouTube page, my YouTube page, Tap In with Tristan, so it can ring out forever. So I'm really excited about this gentleman right here. Please go ahead and introduce yourself for the people.
Yeah, Tom Leszczynski, St. Anthony's '05 state Fed champs.
Yes, absolutely. We're gonna tap into that. But I'm really glad that you said your last name, man, because that
Yeah.
you got a lot of
Zebra
confidence
cat
in there.
zebra. That's my boss a long time ago made that up. Zebra cat zebra. You'll never forget how to spell it.
Yes, yes,
Once you get
yes.
the zebra cat zebra. Otherwise, it's not a lot of fun. I'll tell you
It's
that.
not a lot of
Everything's
fun.
always wrong. Always wrong.
Oh, that's it, bro. I know you winning crazy on Scrabble when you spell your name.
I got those Z's on lock.
Facts. That's a Scrabble Hall of Fame
There you go.
last name right there,
We
man.
got to do another one on Scrabble, right?
Yeah, yeah, you won. So you're right to the top. So I'm excited, man. Listen, man, your name rings out, especially in that early to mid 2000s, about what you was doing. So, man, we want to celebrate you because you are one of our Long Island legends and holding us down. And you have a really cool backstory. So we want to give you your flowers as well as hear some of your backstory, man.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think it's cool that I get to call out a few of the people that helped me along the way, the people that I love playing with, the people I miss playing with. I think that's something we all could say we miss playing with a lot of people, but yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. We're going to give some flowers to other people along the way that helped us on the journey. So let's go back to the early days, man. What's it looking like? Where we at, man? When do we start getting involved with sports?
Man, basketball, I was always tall. I always had a little gut. I was always running all over the place and, trying to have the mac and cheese. But I loved baseball. Baseball was number one for me.
Okay.
And basketball was always kind of creeping around because I'm a big guy, right?
Right.
If you're big, automatically, I mean, what's the number one question I'm asked? How tall am I? And then did I play basketball as number two, right? So I kind of had a flip flop between the two quite often, but kind of dedicated myself to baseball really in my early stages, kind of going into middle school at West Babylon,
Okay.
and we had some heat there too. I mean, our team, we went undefeated in eighth grade. We all broke up. A lot of people went to St. John's. A lot of people went to St. Anthony's.
Okay.
A lot of people play football. Some greats play. I mean, Kevin Hennessy is one of the greats out of West Babylon, quarterback over there. Actually played lacrosse in college. I think he won state championship at MIT.
Okay.
Um, you know, he's a legend in his own right. A lot of good people on that team. Danny Pozamato, Mike Flood. You know, we could go down that list, but
Right.
really started playing basketball in sixth grade
Okay.
at West Babylon. And you know, funny story to start it off, right? So, you know, when I talk about St. Anthony's, I was the how do I put this? I was the wild card, right?
Wow.
I was the guy with the attitude. I was the guy with the ego, and we'll get into all that. But this is kind of where that started from,
Okay.
and went to West Babylon, and it was sixth grade. And I was in the locker room and I was talking smack to a player on my team. And, you know, I was the guy that I didn't care much. I was missing every shot, getting the rebound. I had like, you know, 10 and 10 from one play. You know what I'm saying? And, wound up going in the locker room, said the wrong thing to the wrong person, got popped in the face.
Oh, it was
Right.
one of those.
And, you know, so, you know, I go home and of course I cry to mommy and do
Yeah.
all that stuff. But it kind of changed something in me. It made me be like, okay, if that's what's going to happen, if I'm doing that out there, I got to change. I got to be different. So I kind of started I don't want to say egotistical, but my ego played a lot into my game. And I'm sure
Okay.
anybody that plays with me will tell you that I used it a lot to my advantage.
Okay.
Still to this day, like in bowling, you know, I'm the guy yelling behind people because that's all we do now. What else we could do besides
Yeah.
bowling,
Yeah.
right?
We got to stay competitive
I'm
somehow.
the guy that yells, you know, I'm the guy that yells at them and everyone knows at this point I've been in the same league for 10 years. It's all show, right? And that's what it was. But that gave me that ego, right? And
Right.
then I started getting better because I started playing harder and started thinking smarter and thinking, how do I not get popped in the face again?
Right. So it was kind of like, listen, man, this is a part of my personality. I can use it to my advantage, but also, man, I'm really not trying to get punched in the face.
Yeah. I don't think I got punched in the face again since. Actually, strangely enough, that's false. In a summer league I was playing with my boy Nick Carter. Shout out Nick, and yeah, another guy from West Babylon popped me in the face. So it must be West Babylon
It
to me.
must
I
be
don't
West
know.
Babylon guys, man. So
Yeah,
there's something going on over there.
yeah, that
So
was the only two.
early middle school years, man. We're doing both. We're doing the baseball and the basketball. Like, so you're saying that basketball, you know, you was using your height to your advantage, man. But was you better at baseball at this time?
I was a pitcher and my height played, right? You know, I had a bunch of people that would never wanted to catch me because I was just erratic. I was all over, but I threw heat. And you know,
Wild thing.
yeah, exactly. But you know, if you're 6'10" and you're kind of throwing three quarters and hiding the ball, it's not easy to see, right? So, you know, I either hit you or I struck you out. It was no in between. But you know, I developed a slider, which led to me blowing out my arm, which we'll talk about later.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it was baseball and those guys at West Babylon, man, they were the best. You know, we had a really strong team. Like I said, we went undefeated.
Hmm.
And you know, it was funny. I went to a concert. I want to say maybe a year ago now, actually a year and a half ago, and it was a Blink 182 concert. And my old catcher Carmine Demery and Mike Flood that played on that team were in the exact same seats right next to my wife and I. Talk about totally random, but you know we had a
Wait.
great time.
Y'all didn't set it up like that?
Yeah, we had no idea. We hadn't seen each other in
Uh,
10 years. You know, and we're chopping it up. It
get the
was
heck out of
nice. You know,
here.
it was certainly nice. But that was what I was doing, right? And
Yeah.
basketball was kind of secondary. But kind of sixth through eighth grade, I started going to camps over the summers, and that's when I met JD Walsh,
Okay.
who at
Let's
his
talk about
camps, that's
that.
when I really started to kind of. So JD is a very interesting coach, right? I was constantly told, you know, don't shoot, get on the inside. And that's rightfully so in certain instances, of course. But he was the guy that told me, don't listen to that shit. You know, let's get
Okay.
that shot going. Let's get those free throws in, which
Yeah.
I still think I maybe shot 66% everywhere I was my entire career. I don't think I got better or worse, right? Um, but yeah, he told me work on that shot. He kept me at the camps working out extra. And funny, my dad worked with a guy, Mr. Brown, and Donald Brown, who went to St. John's, who he's a legend in his own right, went to Bucknell, had a great career over there.
Yeah.
He was kind of one of the camp counselors. So when I was young, I got to know him. And to me, it was all Johns, St. John's, St. John's. JD was the coach. And I don't know if he ever knew why I didn't actually go to St. John's.
So we're talking about for those who don't know, right? So this is St. John's the
The
Baptist, the high
Baptist,
school.
yes, the
Yeah,
Baptist, yeah,
so we're talking about the high school and the privately Catholic
right.
school on Long Island.
Exactly. And JD Walsh was the coach there for I want to say 3 or 4 years.
Yup.
And I was gonna go to St. John's if I wanted to put basketball as my first sport, which is kind
Oh,
of ironic because it turned out not to be my best sport, which turned out to be basketball, and it turned out that I made the best move of all going over there, right? But I went to St. Anthony's for baseball, and
uh, who's a part of this decision making? Is your how is the home life, man? Do you have any
oh yeah,
siblings?
no,
What
so
what's going on with that to try to help you?
absolutely.
Yeah, what's going
I'm
on with that?
very lucky. I'm very lucky. I'm an only child, but
Okay,
I have parents that support me um, in ways you can't even get into. Right?
gotcha.
They've been to every game. They've been
Yes.
to whatever practice they were allowed to be at, whether I wanted them to be or not. Um, and they really took care of me in a lot of ways. And I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it weren't for them. But as an only child, it certainly was different for me growing up because I didn't have any brothers or sisters. I really didn't, know much out of my West Babylon kind of bubble that I was in with the baseball. So
Yeah,
when I started to get into, the camps with JD and looking at the Baptist versus St. Anthony's, and those were always the two options. That's when I really started to see how much my parents did for me and what they contribute to everything. But it was tough as an only child because you can only lean on them for so much. So
yeah,
luckily, kind of as I went on, I made best friends along the way for basketball and things of that
yep.
nature. But I'm fortunate that my home life was absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't have asked for a better one, to be honest.
That's awesome. Now, did they have their opinion or preference to which school that you was going to pick? Because this is a big decision.
Yeah, I think they always wanted St. Anthony's. I think that was always in the back of their minds. And they definitely, my best friend from middle school, Sean Rogan, he didn't play any. He did, I think he bowled at St. Anthony's,
Okay,
but he was going there. I had a
okay,
bunch of my good friends that were going, and I think they always knew it was going to be St. Anthony's. But if they told you if you had them on right now, 100% they say St. Anthony's.
okay. Now, what's going on about leaving your public school or the option of staying
That
with
was
West?
tough. That was
Talk
tough.
to me about that. Because hold on, real quick. Let me just kind of set this up. Like this is,
This is it. We could go on an hour for this. This
I
is a
know
tough
this
one. Yeah.
this this is interesting because I don't think a lot of people, and I've never had to make that decision. I stayed at a public school, but I don't think a lot of people really know the backstory or they have the insight
Mm.
for when people do make their decision. So I think this would be really cool to kind of deep dive a little bit more and having that way in of not just which private school to go to, but also leaving the current public school.
It was really down to what was going to put me in the best position for my future. What was going to get me to the level I wanted to get to play in college, to play at a level higher than most.
Got
And West Babylon had a lot of good things to offer, but we slowly had people say they were going to St. John's and other schools, St. John the Baptist and other
you.
schools like that. And it kind of became very apparent to me that if I wanted to kind of do more than I didn't want to be, the top pitcher on a team that went 500. And that's odd saying that after I left a team that went undefeated. But with
Yes.
the pieces that left the school and the pieces that went elsewhere and the guys that were kind of starting to not really get into it and pick either football or lacrosse or,
Yeah.
or even basketball,
Yeah.
I didn't think that the opportunity was there for me. And it kind of killed me to say that and think
Yeah.
that and even say that now out loud because I love all those guys and I would have
Yeah.
loved to do it with them. But, there were many of us that left.
Right.
Um, but, I think in hindsight, it obviously was the best decision. I
Yeah.
don't know what would have happened at West Babylon. I don't know what type of person I would be today. It could be
Right.
entirely and probably would be entirely different.
Right.
But it weighed on my mind for a while And there was, nobody ever said anything, and everyone's great, but I'm sure there was a little bit of resentment for leaving, just like,
Yeah.
I felt resentment for the guys that were leaving before I was leaving.
You're like, yo, where you going?
Yeah, don't leave me, and
Yeah.
but I'm gonna leave you too, the age
Yeah,
old
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Don't leave me before I leave you.
Yes.
Um, but that was tough. That was a tough decision. But I had friends that were going from West Babylon into St. Anthony's, and
Yes.
and I think that kind of guided me through it. I met people, for baseball more so, and got to know them a little bit more. But yeah, when I got to St. Anthony's, it was a different life. All bets
Oh,
were off. I started. It was a new life. It was literally day one. You're a new person. You got to make your impression.
a whole new chapter. So,
Tough.
so
Yeah.
I appreciate you deep diving that a little bit more for because I think that's even with just being an athlete, you're gonna have some friends that whether you stay in public school or private school that may not have the same ability as you or have the same that they don't have the same drive as you, that you're gonna have to make a decision to kind of, take this path versus this path in those middle school and high school years. And it's always tough because you love them, but you have to kind of take a look at what's going to set you up. And it feels selfish, but it also plays a big part in your development and your future. So
Agreed.
that's very understandable for you to say that. Now, when you made this decision, was you going into it pretty much as a freshman, or did you end up leaving a little bit later? Because everybody has a
No,
different.
I went as a freshman. I went fresh out.
Let's talk
Eighth
about
grade
it.
ended, went into it. Yeah. So
Let's talk about it.
graduated. So so.
Day one at St. Anthony's, man. What's going on, man? Where we at? Are we playing baseball? We obviously went there more for the baseball. What's the situation like?
I'm a different guy, right? I'm a guy that likes music a lot. Behind me, you can't see, but I have two guitars on each side of me. It's a major part of my life. Um, I didn't really flock to the baseball crowd or the basketball crowd. I was kind of in a lot of different crowds, but the core group of people that I had were more so just the ones that like to have fun, kind of knew everybody in every group, talked to everybody in every
Yes.
group, and had our own thing here and there. But um, what was unique about that, while even doing that, I still have these great bonds with all. I mean, like Schmidt. John Schmidt, we saw each other randomly at Penn Station at like 4 in the morning. I was dead asleep on the pole, begging to go home, and I hear Tizzy, and he just runs and tackles me into the pole. Um, but that's the type of relationships we had, and it
I
was
can
cool
see
to
it
kind of
already.
have a life outside of sports and still have them root for me and cheer me on, and they were always so supportful. And I think they helped kind of make me see the different side of things too, from kind of the fan side.
Yeah.
So certainly shout out to my group of buddies over in St. Anthony's for
Now,
sure.
how tall are you? How tall are you as a freshman, dude?
I want to say 6'4", six
Okay.
five.
Okay.
Freshman year, sophomore year, they were kind of a blur. We
Yeah.
we kind of treaded water as a freshman.
Yeah.
I think sophomore year, and Schmidt and Tracy, forgive me if I'm wrong. They joined varsity, I believe, halfway through that year.
Okay.
So we were just treading water out of JV, and
Yeah.
it was one of those things where that's when the baseball focus was kind of happening, right? The ninth grade, the 10th grade,
Yeah.
and then I actually, I believe it was my first pitch sophomore or junior year. I think it was junior year. It was um, the year before we went to States and One States. I threw a pitch against St. Mary's. My arm came out as a circle change, and I tore my labrum. And like I said, basketball was kind of secondary to me at that time. I wasn't really majorly focused. I was getting better, but I was
Yeah.
kind of treading lightly. I was big, so I was getting looked at by Coach Ryan, but I was just big. I was missing easy shots. I kind
Yeah.
of didn't have the IQ. I had the ego without the play, right?
Yep.
But baseball, I had the arm, and I had a couple of things to break my wrist and stuff like that, which I'm injury prone. It is what it is. It's a big man.
Right.
Every big man's injury prone.
Right.
But that pitch kind of changed my course of everything, because I had a decision to make. I tore my labrum, which was either I play baseball and get the surgery, but if I got the surgery, I don't play basketball senior year,
Ooh.
right? So if I don't play basketball senior year, maybe they win states, maybe we don't know what happens, because that's not a real situation. But it's interesting how normally I would say For baseball, like, yeah, let's get the surgery. I'll play baseball. At the end of the year, it'll be all right. But I said, no, I'll play basketball instead. I got basketball, which I'm sure it surprised my parents.
Hey, yeah, let's talk about this decision right
I
here.
don't, I don't know why. I just said I'll do basketball. I didn't want to get the surgery.
You didn't want the surgery. Okay, so
Just
that was
didn't
like,
want it.
I really didn't want that surgery,
I
dude.
still haven't had it. And it's kind of funny too, and I have no proof of this, but I think my shot got better after I got hurt.
Really?
Because everybody always, fundamentally sound, and nobody's better than Pat Foley being fundamentally sound with shot, part of the '05 team. But tuck that shoulder in, shoot. I couldn't I wasn't comfortable
Yours was went
tucking.
out a
I
lot.
was always a little wingy, right?
Yeah.
And when I was hurt, I couldn't tuck. So I was forced to be a little wingy, and I think it changed everything for me. And kind of that year and in between in the summer, we were all rolling at St. Matt's and playing for St. Matt's, and we were kind of keeping the core group of people together. But that's when I really felt like I'm getting better at this. We're getting better as a team, and you know. From the momentum we had last year going to states, but we lost really key players, John Grazioli, Matt Hahn. We lost a lot of key people.
Y'all lost some key guys going in.
A
This is
lot of
this
key.
is
Yeah.
this is your junior year.
Junior year, yeah, and so junior year was a story in itself. So let me back up. So
Yeah, let's talk
hurt
a little bit
myself.
about the junior year, and then we want to talk about how your parents felt about the decision, and then we'll
Yeah,
start rolling into the
yeah,
senior year.
absolutely. So I think that the thing about my parents is they're very supportive of every decision I make, and they let me make my decision for myself. I think deep down, my mother was afraid of me getting a surgery at such a young age.
Yeah.
Especially because other things wouldn't necessarily be affected by it. It's a labrum. I kind of didn't have any pain after, kind of about 2, 3 weeks. So it was manageable everywhere else. I went from throwing 88 to throwing 87 to throwing 86 to throwing 80 to throwing 78. So I think they kind of knew what was
You lost a
happening
lot of
too.
velocity, huh?
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I started caring more about basketball and less about baseball. And I don't know why. It
Yeah.
still doesn't make much sense. And even thinking about talking with you and before talking with you, I try to make sense of it. I still can't. But
Yeah.
they were supportive, and they never tried to sway me one way or another.
Okay. Yeah. So they was like, okay, so this is what we're doing. So let's go ahead and turn the page on this one and kind of see what's going on with this new chapter.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we're going into junior year, right? Name some of the guys, man. Who's on this St. Anthony's team, man? That we're about to have on this nice run in the senior year, and what's going
Yeah.
on campus, man? How's campus life? What's the grades looking like, man? You said you
I was
you
straight A
said you're
student.
everywhere, man.
I
You
was straight
friends
A
with everybody.
student. I was cool with school, right? I knew how to do it.
That's awesome.
Fake it till you make it,
That's it.
and but
Yeah.
if you know how to take a Scantron test, multiple choice,
Yep.
you could do better than the information. I probably should have, knew
Yeah.
the information, but I did good. I was above a 90 student.
You did what you need
Um,
to do.
I did what I needed to do, but I was a class clown. I was kind of a dick.
I can
That's the
man.
way to get the girls. You make them laugh,
Class.
big, tall, goofy kid. But we had a character rating. Sorry, Mom, for talking about this, but we had a character rating, right? And 100 is your, perfect, nothing wrong with it. You get down to 80. It's kind of like regular grades. I think my junior year I was a 55. You know, I just made, but that's the ego and that attitude, right? And like I said, we'll talk about that and how it played into our team.
You had a
But
55 in
I
character.
was, I was. You could call it a class clown. You could call
Yeah.
it a little bit of a dick.
Yeah.
You can call it what
Yeah.
you want. But
Yeah.
that's
It depends.
that's how I was. So it affected me a little bit. But I am who I am.
You got to kind of stay true to yourself, and then
Right.
obviously you'll be able to kind of work your way through it accordingly.
Yeah. Exactly.
So junior
Exactly.
year, man, we have this. Is this happens in the springtime?
Yeah. So no. So the actual junior year that we played, I think we started off. There were some crazy things that happened junior year.
Let's talk about some. Man, go ahead, Brett.
So
Give
number
us what
one,
you
so we
need.
had Matt Hahn on our team. Matt Hahn is a legend football player at St. Anthony's. He went to Penn State, played fullback at Penn State for Paterno. Paterno was at one of our practices. So there was a lot
Big
of
deal.
stuff. It was crazy stuff. He was walking our halls. It was something else, because he deserved it and rightfully
Right?
so. But Matt was starting for us. John Grazioli was a senior who was a big man, went to Hobart. He started for us. I believe Schmidt definitely started for us. Kevin Chigarello was a 2-3 shooter. And then, I, I I can't remember who was the other starter. It might have been Foley might have started, I believe, or Tracy might have mixed in a little bit to start. But that was kind of the starting five from the jump. And we were a really good team. I mean, but kind of two things changed the season drastically. First one happened at Chaminade, and it was kind of how I got my shot at St. Anthony's. And you never wish for it to happen this way, but it's interesting looking back and seeing how it did. Matt Hahn, I believe, broke his foot at Chaminade in the second quarter, very early in the season, 5 games, 6 games into the season. So he was shut down. He's playing football at Penn State. He's shut down. He's not doing anything anymore.
Right.
So after he got hurt, I kind of started starting from there and filled in for him. And we kind of went two bigs with me and Graz, which was tough to start. But as we started going, we really got hot
Yeah, I got
momentum
that
together.
was going on
We
now.
started to get it. But after Matt got hurt, we went to Disney and played at, I forgot the name of the tournament, but one of those, famous tournaments at Disney.
Right.
And we were in like the second to last game. There's about 12 seconds left on the clock. Game shot, nothing matters. And Schmidt tosses a long ball to Foley all the way down the court. Foley jumps up, and the whole place hears a crack and just an immediate scream from him. And Han's crying because he saw what happened.
Oh no.
We're all crying because we know he's seriously hurt.
Yeah, this is real.
Slapped his leg in half, just
Oh no.
absolutely straight in half.
Oh
And what kind of sucks is it didn't matter. And
yeah.
Foley's this kid who has grit and determination and always has the right thing to say, always had the
Man.
proper thing in every situation. You're like, why is this guy
Why did it happen to
the
this
the
guy?
sophomore darling? Why is he getting
Man.
hurt?
Okay.
Um, so that shook us up a little bit, losing him, and that was kind of halfway through the season. But we took heat, and we started really moving and really rolling. And of course, St. Mary's was becoming St. Mary's. Danny Green was there,
Oof.
Tyson Johnson. You had Danny Aker, I believe, was still there. Tyrone. You had the whole group there. They're all growing, maturing together. A couple,
Oh, man.
Aker's leaving, but that's when that number one team in the nation, started in '05.
Wow.
And so we're not going to beat them for the CHSAA title. That's not going to happen. We know. But we knew we had a chance to get the title there, so or at least move into the states for Class A. So
Yup.
the game against Kellenberg was tough. They had this guy Scott Gaffney, who I believe went to college for baseball. He was a hell of a pitcher.
Okay.
But Scott was something else with the ball, smart. When you're a pitcher, you're generally smart on the court, and he certainly was. I think we won that game in overtime by 2.
And this is
And
still junior year?
junior
All right.
year in
I got them
the
too.
championships of A, if you would, right?
Yep. I got you.
And then of course go to play Mary's. Who knows what they did? They killed us.
Yeah, they were
Um,
people around that time.
well, we got taste the states, and we lost to Canisius. Close game, but happen to lose. It is what it is. But that season kind of started the gel, putting everything together and making everything work.
Yep.
And that's when, as I was mentioning earlier, we headed into a lot of playing at St. Matt's and playing together, traveling to tournaments together, going to Ocean
Yes.
Beach. That was a great trip for us. We had a great time there. And Eastern Invitational, right? The Eastern
Yeah.
Invitational was between
That,
junior and senior year.
that can't.
Schmidt and I and Chris Kolakowski was starting five for the '05 champs. We all went together to that, so we got to bond and get to know each other a lot there. There were just a lot of right things happening kind of
Okay.
that
Yeah,
time in between.
we're starting to get some motion going into this senior year, right?
Yeah,
So
but that's when I started to love basketball. That's when I started to feel it, and
just gonna
kind
ask you
of
about that. I was gonna ask you about that. So where is baseball in your mind now, going from junior year to senior year,
it was
man?
gone. I
It was
couldn't play.
gone.
I couldn't play.
Yeah,
I had to quit junior year. Told him I got to go to Coach Newman. Rest in peace. But it was tough. But we had we went to states. We had a good
yeah,
time. Everybody
yeah.
got along well.
Are
But
you
it was gone. I didn't think about it anymore. So I had no choice but to put all my focus into one instead of two.
do you feel like you was at peace with that decision, or did you kept going back and forth with kind of like, oh man, what if I?
I say that now.
Yeah, yeah,
just because, with the son and watching him hit a baseball and watching him do all those things, you kind
Yeah,
of think like, should I? But then, hindsight's 2020, and the answer is
absolutely.
absolutely not. Not many people get to have a state championship.
That's a fact.
That's for sure. Um, but no, I was at peace with it then. I'm at peace with it now. But it's certainly something that I'm never not going to think about.
It's gonna come up sometimes, but for the most part, you're at peace with it. So we can kind of chalk that up there. Now, as going into the senior year, special year here, man. How tall are you now? How tall are you now? And then
I'm
who?
about 6'8", but I still had some body control issues, if you would.
Hmm.
I had coordination, but it was kind of like a little off coordination. And that summer in between, I went to the Empire State Games, tried out for the Empire State
Talk to
Games.
me about that. How'd that go?
Yeah. Well, Empire State Games was life changing for me in many different ways.
Okay.
First of all, it kind of taught me better camaraderie on the basketball court, how to be a better teammate.
Who's coaching this team and who's on this team with you?
Coach John Albano, coach at Lindenhurst.
Lindenhurst.
Lindenhurst, yeah, Lindenhurst.
How'd that go,
Um,
man?
so Coach Albano is a special guy. He did a lot for the program at Lindenhurst. He bought the Polish Rocket, Adam Parzic there. Adam's my boy. Love you, Adam. And his brother Kareem. They were standouts at Lindenhurst, and the things he did for those kids was awesome. I think Adam. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I think he basically helped Adam live with him for a little bit, and
Yeah.
just a good
Yeah.
real guy,
Overextending himself for
but tough as
for the help.
nails. Tough as nails, and so we have our practices. We get to know everybody. We're all getting really really along. There was a run I missed it, but they all talk about when AJ Price came down and ran with them and kind of showed them up a little bit. At that point, I think he just graduated or something to those degrees.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the piece that I missed. But we kind of got there. And you got to live with each other for 3 days and get to know each other, and that's brand new for everybody there, unless you went to like day camps or stuff. So
Yeah.
we had a suite. It was myself, Kevin Vasilla, Carson Niehoff. Kevin Vasilla was center at Massapequa. Carson Niehoff was a shooter out of I want to say Central Islip, West Islip. Sorry, West Islip, West
Okay.
Islip.
Okay.
And then Nick Cerisi out of Kings Park.
Okay.
So Kevin and Carson roomed together, and Nick and I roomed together,
Yep.
and Nick is now my best friend. He's my brother. I'm an only child. He's fortunate to understand that when you're an only child, you search for those brotherly
Yeah. Found
connections, and love him for giving me that, and
Shout out to
love
Nick.
that I could give that back to him. But we roomed together, and we're kind of sitting there, and he's like, "You like poker?" I'm like, "Yeah, I like poker." He's like, "You want to play poker?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's play some poker."
Play some
Well,
poker.
we didn't have chips, we didn't have cards, so we
Yeah.
took a quick walk to the student center. It was 7-Eleven, something like that.
Yeah.
And
What episode are y'all at right now? Where
it was
y'all
at
at?
Binghamton. It was at
Okay, y'all
Binghamton. So
upstate.
you live in college life
Yeah,
basically.
we
As
upstate.
exactly,
Yep. Go
exactly.
ahead. Go ahead. Finish the story.
So we hit up 7-Eleven, and we get straws, and we wind up playing poker with Coach Albano and Carson and Kev and ourselves for hours upon hours with these multicolored straws, right? So him and I kind of hit it off immediately from there. We had the same taste in music, same taste in everything, kind of
Oh,
same kind of growing up, except he had a brother and a sister. But it was a major part of my life because that I found my brother. It sounds weird to say, but I found my brother, right? And
yeah.
and when you find your brother and start to be told the things they see you doing that you don't know you're necessarily doing, that maybe people haven't told you in the past,
Right.
that helped me grow, and
Right.
having someone more honest with me, because my
Yeah.
parents love me to death, but they're not always honest. They want to help their boy. They want to protect his
And it's a
feelings.
different. It's a different dynamic.
So, I think that helped, and I think he helped me a lot, during that senior year as well, which we played them, which there's a funny story behind that too. We'll get to that. But yeah, we wound up winning silver medals. There were a lot of great people on that team. I could go down the list. Actually, Nick played with Drew Desmaris, who was on that team at Union College. They both went to Union College and played over there.
Yep.
Alex DeCanip out of William Floyd. I don't know where he went. Steve Mears out of Longwood. I think I'm doing pretty good remembering.
You're doing
So,
pretty good, man.
yeah.
You done clipped off a good six,
Sorry,
seven
everyone else.
guys,
You know
man.
what I mean?
20 years ago. That's
Yeah,
pretty darn
exactly.
good, man. So now, I mean, listen, man, you're starting to connect a lot of dots as we walk through this basketball journey. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's kind of helping out your decision. Like, man, this is starting to line up for me. Now, do you feel like that summer kind of helped your confidence? Where's your confidence level playing ball right now?
Well, it was kind of, so to kind of tie up the summer, it went from more high, kind of more highs and then kind of hit a low. So I at the after the I think after the Empire State Games. No, actually Empire State Games were after. At Eastern Invitational, I was basically already committed to Loyola Maryland. I was going there. I think Jimmy Patsos was the coach there at the time. And then he went to Siena after or something like that. But I was committed. We were ready to go. I remember leaving there. I put on I mean, I played with the team I was rocking when I was over there. I was on point.
Yeah.
But I wound up, and oddly enough, it was against Eastern Invitational. I was playing against Andy Routens, who went to
Ah,
Syracuse, and I
very,
think he wound up playing for the Knicks.
very
And I
true.
went to block him or something and came down on my elbow and chipped
Ah,
my elbow.
ah,
So I was kind of, I could play. I wound up playing through it. And I think I played a little bit with it in the Empire games. I looked at a picture that I actually think I have ice on my arm because it was the same elbow that
yeah.
I hurt and I was playing after with it. But that kind of shook everything up for me, and it kind of humbled me a little bit too, because it brought me to the stage of, well, it humbled me, but not that much. But it took me to the
Enough.
state.
It made
I
you.
thought, maybe I could do
I
better,
had a
than
few
that.
more thoughts than I didn't have.
Yeah. So, but it kind of made me rethink a couple of things and kind of change a little bit, but it also made me really pissed off. And you know, I had quite a few technicals my senior year, and we'll get into that. But it kind of, we had such a unique team dynamic, and we'll get into that shortly.
Yes, I would love to get
Um,
into this part for sure.
but there were people that checked me and all that good stuff. But that's kind of where I developed the chip on my shoulder of, I committed, they took it away from me. F them. Not what can I do better, it was F
Yes,
them. Everybody else is to blame. I'm not to blame.
gotcha.
So that was kind of over, and it was kind of back to the drawing board again. And then we get into our senior year.
So before we get to the special senior game, man, who's the coach, man? What's his name? Who's
Yeah,
leading?
Mike
Who's
Ryan.
who's
Mike
say it-
Ryan's the head coach over there. He
What's the
he was actually,
philosophy for you guys, man? What type of what's the philosophy? What's
no
his
individual
style?
is more important than the mission of the whole. That was it. That
Say
was
that one more
literally it.
time. Say that one more time.
No individual is more important than the mission of the whole. That was what Coach Ryan said every practice. We just had our 20-year reunion, and I was talking about that with him. But that was what he instilled. I don't know if he did it junior year. I think he did it senior year, but it was early. It was at the very beginning. But
Wow.
Mike Ryan was there. But what was interesting, he was, I want to say the dean. I might be wrong, but he was kind of the administration side at St. Mary's. So he would literally be at St. Mary's with the number, with all the dudes from the
Wait a
number one team.
second.
And
Wait a second.
yeah, yeah, crazy, right?
Wait. I'm hearing this correctly.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was an administrator at St. Mary's where they're
yeah.
cooking in their top 10 in the nation with Denny Green over there.
Number one. We were
and,
number
then
one in the
one in the
nation.
country. And then he was coming and coaching you guys.
Yeah, yeah, crazy.
That's super crazy. I had no
And we
idea.
could not beat them. I mean, we were
I mean, you can
we
get as
were
much intel
so
as you could
close.
get.
We were so close, but we didn't beat them. We
Oh
didn't
my
beat them.
goodness. Okay, yeah, finish up, man. I'm leaning in on the senior year, man. Walk us.
Yeah, no. So Coach Mike Ryan, Coach Dave Shula, who actually won a state championship with Kings Park as well. Back when Mikey McSloy was there. Mikey's now a head coach. Geez, where did he just go? He just coached at Drew, had an incredible season, and got another job. Nick is probably yelling at me right now.
Put it in the
But
chat, Nick. I know Nick in there. Put it in the chat, man. Help us out.
where is it, Nick?
Come on, put it in the
Um,
chat, Nick.
Yeah, but Coach Shula was with us, and he was kind of, he gave a lot of great ideas to Coach Ryan along the way.
Okay.
And he kind of brought in an interesting aspect to practice. He was big on hitting us with pads and making us take contact, and like what are the pool things? The pool,
Pool
the ones
noodle.
that he hit us with the noodles
Yeah,
and all that stuff. And then Coach Frank Mantessa, who's kind of the big man coach, he's the scout now all over the place for a bunch of different Long Island programs.
that's awesome.
He's been immersed in it. His son, I think he was an assistant coach at Winthrop or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
And he was always hanging out at practice, just good families, good people. And Coach Ryan's mother also taught at our school. Miss Ryan, she was awesome. She was a big supporter of us too, and we loved her to death. So we had a lot of interesting aspects over there, and a lot of pedigrees that continued after as well.
Okay. Okay. So walk us through the season, dude. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Give us the kind of the beginning, middle, and the end.
So what's kind of crazy? So I love my mom. Don't laugh at the pictures and the stuff, right? But for the season, she actually kept a scrapbook of literally everything that happened in the season.
This is the senior year.
It has everything. It
Oh, we
has
gotta get
the.
this on. Hey, we gotta get this on the page, dude.
I'll
Don't be
do. Yeah, I
bashful.
will.
Don't
I'll
be
send them to
bashful
you.
now.
But yeah, no, she would be honored, I'm sure. I'll
Oh
even get you
yes.
the ones. Look, it says score, right? It says score.
Oh, you got you got the little
I
Batman
love it. Yeah,
buzzwords on
she
there.
had to throw those in.
Bam and Zap and all that on there.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the best, one of the best things she's ever done for me because
Oh,
it like
beautiful
literally
thing,
I could just
dude.
sit on the couch and think back. But it's cool because I could actually tell you exactly how it went
You
down.
can walk us through
Yeah.
memory lane.
And we'll skip a couple of avenues
Yeah,
here and there, but
give us like the heavy hitters, man, and you know, saying things that really just like stand out with you and maybe even change the course of that season because it was going this way or that way.
yeah. First game was against Malloy. Malloy is a very hard-nosed Catholic school team, very tough. Wound up winning by 2. And we had a really strong start. Schmidt and I started off hot. We felt good leaving that game. We felt good that we kind of
Now, for
ran
those
with the
who don't
good
know who
people.
Smith is, man, go ahead and give him his
John
first last
Schmidt,
name.
geez. So I guess
Yes,
you know what? Let me go through before I go to the season. Let me talk about the boys a little bit. I think that
please do, man. It's a special deal.
um, so yeah, we had something special. So John Schmidt is the glue of everything, right? He
Yes.
and he doesn't like to talk about himself. I'll
So we're
keep
gonna
it
talk
short.
about him.
I'll keep it short for him. That's I got to keep it short for my boy. But he's the engine. I mean, that's the engine. But we kind of had 2 engines. And Matt Tracy was bigger of an engine than anybody ever knew. Matt
Yes.
Tracy was kind of our 3-4 wingman. I think he played more so the 4. But whoever Danny was on the court, he was guarding him.
Yes.
Danny Green. Anybody of any status, of any notoriety, he was on him. He was guarding him, and he was in their face.
Yes.
He changed the course of every game. He was the back of our 1-3-1. He was bolting up and down. The kid put his body out every single game. There was a game against Trinity where he basically like dislocated or broke his wrist or something like that and was still taking charges. It was absolutely crazy.
Wow.
But Schmidt was the man, right? He was our guy. He was who we all looked to. He
Yes.
was who we all looked for direction. And then Tracy was kind of the enforcer. He was the
Yep.
one that kept me in check.
Yep.
And he was a big player in keeping everything, copacetic and running very smoothly as a team.
Yep.
Um, and like I said, I was the wild card. I was the psycho. I was the ego. I was the guy that thought I was the best guy on the court
Yep.
whenever I was on the court, even
Yep.
if I wasn't. Even if I knew I wasn't, I was the
Yeah.
best guy on the court.
Yep.
And, you look back and I always say I wish I played differently, but if I did, it might not have ended up how it ended up, right? It
Right.
was the dynamic of the team. We had Patrick Foley, who was a junior that year, who came back from breaking his leg and had an
He
incredible
recovered from the
season.
injury.
Had an incredible season. Wound up going to Columbia, I believe.
Wow. So he
Um,
came back from that injury.
he came back hard, and
Yep. Unbelievable.
he
Shout out
is
to him.
the fundamentally sound, level-headed, um, proper person that also helped kind of keep everybody glued together. He was the
Everybody had a
honest
role,
ace.
man. Everybody had a role, and it sounds like
Yeah,
it's like this cross accountability that everybody's holding within their own
absolutely.
style of play and personality. That fair to say?
Yeah, and Chris Kolakowski, the last starter, was last but not least, of course. Um, yeah, he was kind of like he kept levity. He won so many games for us without even being mentioned. He did all the little things on the court. He had a stroke that nobody else had. They talk about Schmidt and Foley and how they shot all the time, but Chris, was a pure stroker. His dad, actually, funny story, his dad, Ken Kolaskowski, was on the 1979 team that won
Wow.
state federation championships for St. Anthony's. And funny enough, they had their 25-year reunion the year that we won state federation championships. And
I'm
this year,
seeing
when
some
we had
symmetry here.
and then this year we had our 20-year reunion, and St. Anthony's won a state championship. So I
Ah, I
told
see
Coach
some
Logano,
symmetry
I said,
here.
next year have a 1-year reunion, and you're
I
good.
think I need 1 year reunions, an
Yeah.
annual thing, man. Bring everybody in there. Y'all might get a dynasty going
Yeah,
on.
exactly. But those were the five. We had a couple of other players that were juniors. Terrence Collins played a lot for us. Was a big man behind me.
Right.
Um, with Mike Larkin, Billy Sweeney, Bill D'Alessandro. There was just a bunch of different people. Mark Simonek was great off the bench shooter. There were a lot of great players on our team, and what was really great is kind of our practices were serious and not serious, serious and not serious. We had this kind of little fun flow to our practices, and I think that's what kind of took us early on to get us really acclimated. Of course, playing with each other most of the summer helped too.
Yeah. When do you feel like in that season this might be the year, if any?
Ah, I think when we almost beat Mary's, that was something that really took us to a different mentality. They were undefeated; they were number one in the nation, and we had them by one with 2 minutes to go, or 3 minutes to go, or something like that. I think that's when we lost all ego and everything, and just kind of got that. All right, we're going to take care of business now. This isn't going to be last year. We're not going to stop first round.
We're not gonna start first round.
But we
So
got challenged, man. I mean, so let's talk a little
the
your language.
private school, man, it's not a cakewalk, dude. I mean, we
No,
got you got to think about it, man. We got guys that are coming from all different parts of Long Island and some from Queen. Like you got a collection of really good talent at each school.
but you ready for these first four games after Malloy?
talk,
Brentwood,
talk to me.
Kings Park, Brentwood, Bayshore. So we played the heavy hitters
You're playing
quick,
some heavy hitters early, so this is
quick.
this is this is definitely going to build some character. Even if you get some losses, man, you're gonna get some moments to develop character and develop team unity and some toughness and some experience for later on. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think for me that certainly happened. I mean, Brentwood, Johnny Garcia. You
Garcia,
say
man.
that name, that rings out, right?
Yeah, Seton Hall too.
Yeah. What's up, Johnny? Good guy.
Yeah,
We had, I mean, you want to talk about two battles? We had two battles, and just because I have this in front of us, the first game that we played against each other, we were basically same 13 points, 10 points. Next game, we were 18 points, 16 points, right? We were just battling against each other. We
yeah, beat
weren't letting
each other up.
we weren't letting anybody do nothing. But that first Brentwood game was a tough one. It was at Kings Park, I believe, and that was a battle. And this is when Foley was locked in at the beginning.
Okay.
He was locked in. He was hitting shots left and right. I mean, we kicked out to him. He was knocking it down. He really had a good start to the season. And so going into Kings Park, which is where my best friend Nick plays at,
Yeah.
we're getting to um, we're getting to friendship, and we're getting to, looking forward to games, but there was a little wrinkle thrown in. And this is the craziest story that you could ever put on something. So, and I don't know who at St. Anthony's scheduled this way, but um, I played in the band, right? Because why not? It's supposed to be an easy
Wait, what
grade.
instrument are you playing at six
Oh,
six eight?
okay. I'll let you guess. If you could guess the instrument, I'd be shocked.
I'm gonna say the cello.
Cello, that would have been much better than what I
You
was
playing the
playing.
flute? They got you playing the
Clarinet,
flute?
second worst, clarinet. So you want to play My
Uh,
Heart Will Go On, let's do it. You know
you
what
playing the
I'm saying?
clarinet?
So I'm ripping the clarinet, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Did they have to put like an extender on that for you? You got extra
Nah,
extra little
nah,
buttons
nah.
on
They
there?
they just laughed when I put it in my hand.
Oh,
But yeah, so I played the clarinet. And
goodness.
my band teacher, hindsight's 2020. I don't blame the guy, but for some reason they booked the game against Kings Park um, the same night as our concert, the annual concert. So I
Ah,
go to the guy and say, I got a basketball game.
I
I
got a
can't make
game,
it.
dude.
And he goes, okay, if you don't come, you fail.
Straight like
So
that.
I was like the course, like like the semester, he's like, you will fail. You will not. You will get
I'm
a 60.
feeling you,
You will
dude.
get
Like
the
all the
lowest
way through.
grade you could get. Yeah. So I had to leave at halftime. I literally had to leave at halftime. And the funniest part is, Nick and I talked about the game, and we won that game, but I can't tell you anything about it. But the best part is, I can't say that I beat Nick because I wasn't there half the time. So
Yeah,
we didn't.
it was an
We never
incomplete.
beat each other in high school. We got an even record
It was
because
an
I had to
incomplete.
get out.
Oh, that is too funny, man. Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
So
So,
so it is what it is, right? But we started rolling. Bayshore was a tough test too. Shout out Mookie Lassiter.
yeah,
If anybody doesn't check out his Rivalries Never Died, that shit's fire. Definitely check that
yeah,
out.
we're
Great
gonna
tournament.
definitely highlight my
Yeah.
guy for that, man. That's so,
My
so
son happened to be born July 20th, so I just can't go anymore. Else I would have been getting St. Anthony's up in there again. We
that would
played
be
that
dope.
recently. We played against John, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, let me flip this page.
Yeah, man. What we got going on in the middle of the season, man? Because I mean, listen, like you can go game for game, man. Let's go ahead, give us the heavy
No,
hitters. Let's-
I think Upper Room was a good match. They had a lot of good people there. I think we caught them off guard. I don't think they really took us serious. Um, and that great. That's what we wanted. We were the underdogs all year.
Yeah.
We
What
were
was
the
y'all? What was y'all?
underdogs
What
all.
was y'all pick to come? What was y'all pick preseason around?
I don't. It was probably decently high,
Yeah,
but not in front of Mary's.
not in front of.
Chaminade was good.
Yeah,
Kellenberg was still decent. I don't want to. I hate St. Dominic's. I hate them. They
yeah.
are. Mary's. I respect. I respect St. Dom's too. Listen,
Uh
I
oh.
respect
Uh
everybody,
oh. Uh
but
oh.
that's my rivalry because
That's
we
your
had
right.
very hard nosed games against them, and they were tough, man. Whatever coach, I think it was Coach Pavs. I forgot his full last name,
Yeah.
but whatever he put in their drinks before us, we beat them by one, we lost by one, and we beat them by two. And that was in that state champ to get to the states. We beat them by two.
Oh, St. Don's was that was
They
one.
they were our kryptonite. And I think we were theirs, to be honest, because I think anytime you say quote unquote you hate a team, we know you don't hate a team, right? But I think that the thing about Doms is that you needed to have them under your skin. If they were under our skin because they got us. They were the people that got us. We lost, I think, 5 games that year. One was to St. John's by one. One was to St. Dom's by one, and the other 3 were to St. Mary's. That is
Yeah.
what it is. But St. John's, they got us at home. It was a good, hard fought game. That is
Yup.
what it is. But Dom's, we had fights on the court. We were
Y'all
getting
fighting
into
each other.
each
Like
other.
y'all really fighting each other.
Oh, we were getting
It's like
into
man,
each other.
what's
We
up?
were getting into each other. And once again, that was me though. I was the guy that
You
was
was the
starting.
irritant. Yeah, this is a part of my game, though. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Now, are you playing well, man? What's going on with recruitment during the season? Because you lost the Loyola deal.
yeah. So I wound up committing. I think about halfway. Yeah, actually, I think I left Loyola, and then I believe I committed just before the season started to Lafayette.
Okay.
Um, Coach Fran O'Hanlon, great mentor to me. I went 1 year there and went Dickinson for 3 years after. But Coach O'Hanlon was one of the realest people with me in my life, and I certainly thank him for that.
Yeah.
Uh, excuse me, but that was mostly, recruitment was mostly through that summer. I wanted to make a quick pick to kind of get it out there, and
You want to get out of the
hindsight
way.
should have thought a little bit. But everybody's journey is everybody's journey, and I
Yeah.
certainly like how it went for sure.
Okay, so you got your school already out the way, man. I just got to ball out for this senior.
Yeah, no problems on the shoulders thinking
What's
about
your
that.
thought though, man? Like really, like obviously you're playing St. Mary's tough, like y'all going nip and tuck with St. Don's, man. Do you really in your heart, like, man, we actually got a shot, man, to get this? Or you kind of like, man, if we can just tuck in maybe behind St. Mary's, then
I don't think we
we have
thought
to see.
about it. I don't
You didn't
think
think about it.
did you guys ever think about it?
Oh
You-
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
So different perspective. We didn't think about it,
Oh
but you
no,
guys
no,
were
no,
used to
no. That
winning
was
it,
thought
so
about. No,
you
that
guys
was
were
that,
used
that
to
was
it.
that was thought about, dude. That was thought
Well,
about.
you were states or go home. So
Yeah, that was thought about. After my sophomore year when we lost to excuse me, to Southampton, that like every game like meant something from junior and senior year. Like, nah, we have to finish there. So it was thought about.
Well, we were always that underdog squad.
Right, right, right.
You
So you
know,
just like, yo, just take one game at a time.
yeah, and I mean, if you look at a picture at us, we could have been the St. Anthony Ghosts. We were just all chalk white. You know what I mean? That
White
was that
uniform, white skin.
we were just, yeah. I mean, we were just white all throughout. And it kind of stood out a little bit because it made people think like, okay, we're going to get in there, we're going to take care of them and get out of there, and
Yeah,
then I go and throw an elbow in your chest within the first 30 seconds of the game because that's
yeah.
what I did. And all of a sudden they're like, this is different.
This is
you know
different. This is different right here. Well, you got full wake up call within the first minute.
yeah,
It ain't gonna be no cakewalk around here.
exactly.
And I had the skilled
Exactly.
players, man. John Schmidt was a really good player, man. He was running the show, right? You got
Dude,
shooters.
he
Y'all got a lot of nice key pieces out there, dude.
if you step in front of him while he's going for a layup, you're fouling him and he's making it. That's just
Yeah,
what's happening.
yeah,
And the real toughest part is if you don't get in front of him, he's knocking down the shot.
yeah.
And he made a life out of that at St. Anthony's and then beyond the post. I mean, all the guys that he plays with just
What what
absolutely
what
rave
what
about him.
what neighborhood is he from, dude?
John Century.
He's from Center Ridge area. Somebody get in the
I
chat. Where's
think
John from, man?
Smithtown, Century, somewhere around there,
You just
somewhere
throwing
around that
something. You just
area.
throwing stuff out, dude. You don't know.
Yeah, sorry, John. No, I believe it was that Smithtown area. Call it
Smithtown
Smithtown.
area, because I
Mhm.
mean he can go, man. Then he even went and was cooking crazy in college.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me normally, I'd say he was from St. Anthony's.
Yeah, yeah, he's from. That's all
Yeah,
that matters, dude.
yeah,
Walk us through
exactly.
the rest of this year, dude. Come on, man. Let's bring us into this playoffs time, man. Like this is this
Yeah, no. So
this.
we kind of. Geez, I could flip this over. This is
Yeah, your
easy
mom
enough to
got all
do.
of that
No,
in there.
I could tell the rest. The rest is in my head. So that game against St. Mary's. So the game against Dom's, um, I I remember at the end of the game we were up to, um, probably a minute left. I don't remember the guy that put it up, but somebody went to put up a shot, and I kind of just popped up and blocked it out of there.
Let's go.
And then I think we went back down, didn't score. They got the ball with 10 seconds left, and a travel was called.
Oof.
And I was reading the article the other night, and it was talking about Coach Paz with his heads in his hands and all that stuff, and Coach Ryan was doing the same thing. That was the game, right? It
That was
was
right
it
there.
was just back and forth with each other, and like I said, I think my disdain for Doms comes from I was always afraid to play them.
It was a respect. It was a respect thing.
The best that's the best respect you could give is that you
Yeah,
don't want to talk
I
about
really
them,
don't
right?
want to deal with these guys, man. That's
And
good, man.
I really don't even remember many players. I can rattle off players from Johns. I can rattle off players from Marys. I can from Doms, just because I blocked it out of my
I
mind. Because
blocked it out, man. These
you
dudes
know
are difficult to deal with.
we were actually at St. Dom's playing against St. Dom's down at half, and Coach Ryan was talking, and for some reason the Bills music or the Bills yeah, Chicago Bulls, right? The Bulls music comes up playing throughout. So he was giving a speech to the Chicago Bulls music.
Oh, that might
So
have changed the season right
we
there.
won by one.
That
So,
might have changed the season right
yeah,
there.
we won by one.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that was
that's
that
gonna
was a funny one.
yeah, that's gonna
Um,
go to your very core right there. When you hear
yeah,
that music, everybody know what that's about.
yeah, exactly. But then we played Mary's, and that Mary's game. Um, by the way, the game that you posted online, us versus St. Mary's in
Yes.
'04, which was part of that 04 05 season, there was a dunk. So Chris Kolakowski was always talking. We were always joking with him because Danny caught one on him. It was off the rim. He caught it, threw it down on him, and we were talking about it for years. And he's like, "No, no, that never happened. That never happened."
You
So when
screenshot
that
send
came
it
out,
to
we were like, "Hey, here,
them.
let's check out minute 43 and 51 seconds,
Yeah,
right?"
yeah, I'm gonna screenshot this thing
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you,
yeah.
man. Slow
So
motion.
no,
I got it.
yeah, that was funny. But so we go on to play Mary's, and Danny was hot. I mean, Danny was hot out the gate.
Oh man.
I don't think many people thought anything was going to happen. I think we were down pretty far at half,
Okay.
and then we just took off. And like I said, it came down to where we were up. I believe Schmidt hit a shot, kind of bulldozing through the middle, kind of tossed someone up in a layup, and hit a shot to put us up one. And
Oh,
then Danny just went straight down the court and got fouled.
uh,
Like he's like, I'm not letting this lead
I'm
last
going
more
straight
than
to the
two
bucket.
seconds. Yeah, and talking about Danny, we've all seen what he's done at the level that he does, but
Amazing.
I think the thing that I love most about him is he's a good dude. You know,
Yeah.
I think I made it clear, my parents mean a lot to me. He was out at the LA Fitness a long, long time ago.
Okay.
He was signing autographs, doing all that stuff. He saw my parents stop, gave him a hug, a kiss, hello, and gave respect. That's a good guy.
That's a big deal, bro.
And he was always a good guy. He was Teddy Roosevelt. Speak softly, carry a big stick.
Yep.
Never thought he could jump, jumps out the gym, works harder than everybody, doesn't show it. And I'm sure we all could say we're quite proud of him,
Absolutely.
but he was something beyond special, but it wasn't just because of his play. I think it's because of who he was.
I like.
And listen, you talk about that. I don't think we can talk without talking about that team just for a second.
Yeah.
Because we put that argument up about who's the best team ever in Long Island
They got
history,
to
and
be mentioned.
you guys got them, but you guys got a lot of them too. But I put my vote on them because Danny was something else. Tyson Johnson, I give that boy all the respect in the world. Him and I did some shit to each other, and I think all the respect and love for him, and certainly hope he's doing well. I think he went to Monmouth, I believe.
Yeah.
Tyrone Nash was a shooter. He went to Nevada. Rashad Green, Danny's brother, went to San Francisco. Gil Montava went to Post with Schmitty. There was just a lot of good players on
A
that
lot of
team.
heavy hitters in this game.
If you watch that game where you posted,
Yeah.
uh, our game was to do the opposite of what everyone else did. Our game was to ruin the other team's game, right? If they don't run, we running. If they want to run, we're slowing the game
We're gonna
down.
slow it down, dude.
And you could see the beginning of that game. We were trying to slow the game down,
Yeah.
and we could not. It
It's
just wasn't happening. And we ran mostly like a 2-3 extended 1-3-1. We liked it because Tracy was just out of control on the baseline
right.
and working. He was at the top, a 4-man working the top of the 2-3.
That's crazy.
So we had a lot of good. But shout out to those guys. They were something else. We were very close.
Very close. Yeah, y'all right there, man. You're right there. And then you have somebody like Danny Green that kind of even in a close game could put over the top. And
Yeah, and I think Gil hit a
kind of what
big
basketball is.
three. Gil hit a big three, I think, too.
Yeah.
So that was the CHA's title game. So we're one of the few teams that are state feds without an actual league title. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So let's talk about these playoffs, man. How did this go?
So Canisius, we lost to the year before, so we had it out for them. I actually don't remember much of that game. I think we just kind of ran through it.
Yeah, we
Um,
do that.
I think people thought we were going to take them because there were a couple of pieces missing from the prior year, and it was they came. I think we went to them and then they came to us one year. I can't remember the direction of which, but I think when we went there, we took care of them. So I think senior year we went there, but then we went on to I think it was St. John Fisher, and they were 25-1 when we went in against them.
Ooh, okay.
But we were actually favored. I was reading a couple of things, and a couple people favored us. We were kind of just at that part where we were just rolling. I mean,
Y'all
there
was
was
rolling.
really
People can see it.
first of all,
I'm
shout
not
out to
saying
our
that they
fans.
favored you.
Our fans were awesome, man. We had a group of people. Now, St. Anthony's is known for football.
Yeah.
We dominate year in, year out
Yeah. They
football.
put
Schmidt
football.
was the safety on the football team. He could have went anywhere he wanted to
I
for
didn't know Smith
football.
played football either, but I could see.
Dude, dude,
Yeah,
he
I can see
is.
that. I
You
can.
put anything in front of him, he'll just be like, "Yeah, I could do that,"
I I
you
I,
know.
I can see that.
And then no
I can see
problem.
that. I can see that.
Sorry, where were we at? My
You was
apologies.
talking about. You said you was talking about your fan base.
Oh yeah, so we just had just a large, like, we had pajama nights, Hawaiian nights, all these different nights, and we were packed. We beat John's 109 to like 82 at
Oh,
home. Like,
we got a college
home, you didn't
championship
want to
going
play
on.
us at home,
Yeah,
and they couldn't come with us to Glen Falls and things like that.
yeah,
But they were there in spirit, and when we had our 20-year reunion, we got together with a couple of them. A couple of them came out. It was
yep.
kind of nice to talk to them and to hear their perspective and hear how much it kind of meant to them too. Because, like I said, it's interesting seeing the perfect perspective of the people that were watching.
So how this feel like we're pretty much counting it down, and you're like, man, we're about to get a federation thing here, man. Talk to me about that.
We chose to make light of it. So, what we did when we were about to play Lawrence Woodmere, Coach Ryan told us if we got there, he'd let us shave his head. So,
Wow.
we all were together in a room, and we called Coach Ryan in, and one of the guys on our team, Timmy Paul, who was one of our point guards, just holds it up. He's holding it up and saying, it's time, it's time.
You got the Clippers.
And we all kind of shaved our head. But it's interesting that you ask about that, because when we got together again for the thing, Coach Schuler was like, oh, and we were all hanging out, and Tom was overplaying his guitar or something. I didn't have my guitar with me, right? But it kind of hit me where we were then, and I kind of started to think a little bit about what I was doing on the court, what I needed to do on the court. Kind of once we got there, it kind of hit me where we were. And I don't know if the rest of the guys kind of did that at night. But maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I'm sure all of them had some thoughts and nerves, but
Right.
I started to think, I can't come out here and get a tech. I can't come out here and I can't be, throwing bows. I can't be out here saying everything's a foul, even when I know it's not.
Right.
I got to put the attitude aside. And I think I was a different person those 2 games.
That's very cool of you to be able to take that amongst yourself and look at the reality and the weight of this moment.
Yeah, and you still don't. Nick and I talk about it. Nick Cerisi and I talk about it all the time, about the championship, and how Kings Park was a great squad back then too. Mike Krishy was a hell of a point guard out of there. They had a hell of a team, and obviously later when Coach Schuler won with them, that kind of proves it. But it had to be taken more seriously,
Yeah.
and I think the time for the Joker, the time for the guy that's going to push buttons, the instigator, I think he had to go away for a couple of games.
That's pretty cool for you to even say that, to have the recognition from yourself, man. Because I'm sure
that was the only one. That was the only time.
I'm sure all of St. Anthony's appreciated that, because that probably was needed,
Yes,
just
Mark.
that extra edge.
Yeah, no, that's true. And Mark Johnson just said the refs were no joke. He's right
Nah,
too. I would have been. And I saw that too. I would have been done.
Yeah, they would have kicked you out.
I coached at Lou High summers in a little bit, and there was a guy, Dusty, who was one of the refs constantly throughout the CHSAA when we won our state championship, and I was coaching there after making a couple bucks while in college. And he's like, you're a really nice guy, but you were a fucking asshole on the court.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want to tee you up every time, but man, I was real close a lot of times, man. So
I think I had 9 to 11 technicals my senior year.
yeah, that's
Maybe more. I could be wrong. I could be right.
That's T. Wallace type stuff for sure.
Yeah, but we went out against Lawrence Woodmere. They had Tyrone Nash. Great guy. I think what we were very lucky about, it was his junior year.
Yeah.
And I think he was still a little bit underdeveloped for him. Now, underdeveloped for him is a lot better than anybody else out there, right? So, but I think he didn't really become who he really was until his senior year, and kind of got that Notre Dame feel about him. You know what I mean?
Y'all caught him that 1 year before that. So
exactly. But he was awesome.
he was still cooking then, for sure.
Absolutely. And they were very jittery at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we saw that, we caught that.
It's a big moment, man. So y'all I'm sure y'all took advantage of that.
We were so poised. I think that's, and Matt Tracy had a lot to do with that. He kept us he kept me, we talk about people that keep you in check and keep you where you're at. He was kind of my heat check, right?
Yep.
Schmidt was the, lead by example, and Tracy was the one that checked everybody. And I love him for it to this day. I mean, hindsight's 2020. But those moments were so beneficial to our team, and him being able to be vocal to tell me, hey, we can't have you do this here, or like this has to, he knew when it was the right time and when it was the wrong time, and I didn't. And as the season kind of went along, he was a major part in that, for sure.
So man, like you're seeing the buzzer go off, man, and you guys are the Federation champs. What's going through the mind of everybody?
We
That's
were
a big deal, dude.
We were pumped. I think the best example is, did you guys do like the News 12 Newsday thing? Like where you had to go and talk a little bit about it after you won the state?
Nah, see, they didn't. We wasn't doing that yet.
Oh, so it
So,
might have been the first year they did it or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. So
y'all
they
breaking
bring
bad.
I don't think they did it again probably because of this, but they bring us all on, and they ask Schmidt a question, and he's talking, and they ask Tracy, and they come to ask me a question, and I still can't tell you what they said to this day, but I said something along the lines like, yeah, Schmidt's really good, like he'll give you a pass for a layup, or like pass it to you to the elbow for elbow shots, and then I kind of make a face like that, like what are you saying
What am I
on
even
live
saying?
television? And
Yeah,
it was recorded, and my parents have that video to this day. I think that feeling sums it up, right? It was kind of like you didn't know what to say.
yeah, yeah. You just
Like
kind
I
of
could
just,
talk about Schmidt and Tracy and Kolakowski and Foley and all the other boys on the team for hours, but I couldn't in that moment. I just said Schmidt gives me elbow shots. Like
he gives,
that's what I
yeah.
could think
All
of.
right, man. Go on to the next person, man. He's like, what did I just say? But it
But there
was
was
just kind of it was a moment that was big for that. And then also, man, shout out to the coach for being able to manage all of these personalities and keep
yeah.
you guys engaged and walk through that gauntlet of the Catholic school division
Yeah,
and lead.
he's one of the big people that at the time,
Yep.
and I think he would know this too. At the time, I didn't like it. I didn't like how he pushed me and treated me, but he did everything correctly and spot on. And hindsight, as we said, is 2020. And now, when we look back at it and I looked at everything, I know exactly why he did those things and
Yeah.
exactly why he pushed me to do those things. But when you're 18 years old, you don't know that,
Yep.
right? I'm the ego, and he's telling me don't pass the ball behind your back when you're up 20 against Kellenberg, and then I do that from half court. Like that's the type of dynamic I had. I had to find. You tell me not to, fuck you. I'm going to do it
I'm gonna do
anyway.
it even crazier.
Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. And so I think he had a great patience for me.
Yep.
And I certainly respect him for that. And I think it's important to know that, especially for him to know that all those things, whether they were appreciated then, they're appreciated now, right?
That's
And
pretty
I
good.
think that's what matters most.
Yeah, because he's not only just helping you guys be better basketball players, but there's a shaping of young men that goes along with that too. And like you said, you sometimes you don't see that until years down the line.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really cool for you to be able to say that, you know what I'm saying, to everybody listening. Now, you finish off the year with a federation, you're all Long Island, you know what I'm saying? How does that feel, man? Like you're getting recognized with some of these other big dogs.
You look at that all Long Island team, that's a stacked up team.
It's a stacked
Right?
team, man, and you're in the picture, man. How's that feel?
I thank my height for being front and center. I certainly don't believe I was to be front and center in that picture. I would have put a lot of other people there. I just thank my height. But there was a lot of people. I'm super happy that I got to share that with Schmidt.
Yep.
And Mark was on that team. Tyson, Danny, um, Kevin Vasilla. Love my boy Kevin. Miss you, Kev. I think he has like two sets of twins. Crazy. Imagine one set of twins.
You said
Imagine two.
one set of twins is
Crazy. What a
cool.
guy, great guy. King of the flop. He knew we used to play in summer leagues and purposely flop on each other just
It's
to
far
see if
out.
they got called, and then we
What?
talk about who got the most flop calls after. Um, but no, that was just a stacked up team, and it's a quote unquote team, but I would have loved to run with those boys. That would have been great.
Yeah, but it's an honor. It's an honor. It stamps you in, man. But you had an amazing season individually and collectively, and it's locked in. It's locked in. It's something that you guys can talk about. Something that we could talk about. And now we're moving on to Loyola. I mean, to no Loyola,
Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Lafayette. Yeah,
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
went to Alabama,
yeah.
but
You
yeah.
almost went to Loyola, you chipped your elbow and all that, and they said, "Nah, we good." And then you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'm gonna go crazy." And you wanted to make sure that you had a school prior to the senior year, so you can just really just focus on that. So we got Lafayette, man. What's that? Easton, Pennsylvania.
Easton PA, yeah. Lafayette, the best I could describe it, it was the death of an ego, right? We kind of went along this line of I was that wild card, that spitfire, that ego. I'm the man. I'm the man. I walk into that first practice at Lafayette and I go, oh shit,
Okay. Oh, wow.
you know. Um, but I adapted really quickly. I had a lot of people that were pushing me over there. We had a guy, Bilal Abdullah, who was fire. That boy could shoot. I think he's still playing in Dubai or something like that.
Yeah.
Well traveled man, real good man. And went over there, and it was different. It was a different world. And really what was most different for me is I'm an only child. You know, my parents were very protective of me. I wasn't the
Okay.
guy that was going out to parties. If I did, I went all out, you know, excuse me.
Yeah, I
And
see that.
I went all out. And when I went to Lafayette, that's all I wanted to do was to go all
Ah,
out. I'm like, oh, I could talk to girls now whenever I want. You
okay.
know, if I want to drink this beer, I don't have to drive. Not drive, but get home somehow.
Yeah, I'm right here.
And so I kind of lived my life. I had some fun for a little bit, but I
Yeah,
kind of started taking it very seriously, and I was playing really well. Was working real hard in practice. I was kind of starting to be rotated into the first team here and there,
yeah,
seeing how I kind of match up with them. And we were doing a trace the ball drill where you kind of follow the ball around.
yeah.
And we'll leave the name or the player nameless, but coach blew the whistle. I stopped, they stopped. Good second in between, tosses an elbow, shatters my nose in half.
Oh boy.
So run to the trainer, get it put back in place. I'm done for 4 weeks, 4 months rather. I'm out.
Yeah,
When I come back, I got to put that mask on.
you gotta put the mask on.
And then at the same time, I had my roommate got injured, and they had a couple of things at their disposal. I now had a couple of things at my disposal, and I kind of got lost in medication for a little bit, because when you kind of leave your only child life, protected life, and get thrown with, I guess, being not alone, but having freedom.
Freedom. I think that's
Yeah,
the right word.
once you get that
Freedom and
freedom,
time management and all of
yeah,
those things.
you want to break it up a little bit. And I, I just kind of got lost for a second. I kind of about a month to 2 months. I
Okay.
started eating a lot. It was taking a couple more pills at a time than I should have,
Okay.
and had a night where I came to a realization like I got to stop this. This isn't what I got to do.
Okay.
I need to kind of get myself better, get in shape, so on and so forth. But at that point, it was too late. I came back in a game against Notre Dame. I was lucky enough to play at Notre Dame for like 2 minutes. Funny story. So my only Division I true college action is this right here at Notre Dame.
Okay.
So our both big men have fouls. They're in foul trouble. So I get to go in with like 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. And this is the team where they had like Torrin Francis, Colin Falls, Chris
Yeah.
Quinn. They had those shooters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. This is a good team.
So I remember I go in the game, I'm jacked up. I'm like, I'm playing at Notre Dame. This is my first actual D1
Action.
game. What's going on here? And I go and Torrin goes to put up a shot and I block him. And I'm pumped, and we're on a
Oh,
fast break. My point guard's running down. I'm coming from here. He hits me with this beautiful pass, bounce pass under the arm. I could do whatever dunk I want in the world, anything in the world. I go like this and miss the layup. Just
smoke the
total
layup.
joke. I didn't think to dunk. I didn't think for anything. I just choked.
You just froze up. This was like News 12 all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. So then we go. That's awesome. So my coach, when we go in, he goes, Tom, I would like to congratulate you on your first collegiate block and probably your most embarrassing moment of your collegiate
Uh,
experience.
that would have been
So
a crazy sequence.
it wasn't a good year for me for basketball. But what Coach O'Halloran did for me, he called me in his office. End of the year, I kind of floated between playing kind of like on the JV and stuff because I was hurt and gained weight and wasn't working out. I wasn't allowed to touch a weight because my nose had to stay in place. So I wasn't allowed to do anything. I
Oh
couldn't
man.
run. I couldn't
Okay.
do anything. And I
Oh
was just eating with the team popping what they're popping and
yeah.
I'm eating 3 burgers for no reason.
Uh,
Um, so he called me in and he was flat out. He was like, "You're overweight, you're slow, you can't play here next year unless you change a lot. You're gonna have to be here all summer, you're gonna have to do all this stuff, yada yada yada."
yes.
I said, "I think I need to get out of here. What can you do for me?"
Uh,
And that's when he called all these colleges, got all these colleges to come, and he said to me, he goes, "Listen, consider Division III because the year's already over. If you redshirt, you get the red shirt. Maybe you'll get picked up somewhere else. It's worth a shot, but you know, you got to focus on building yourself up again. Go to D3, be happy. Kind of be a star, if you would, at the D3 level." So I was like, that's not a bad idea. So we had this practice where we had a whole bunch of colleges come over, but once again, my luck, the day before we're playing with my team, and I love them to death. They were trying to set me up like, when do you want this? When do you want this? What do you want to do in this situation? God bless them, love them to death. And I go to stop a ball and block a ball, and it just hits my thumb flat out, and I get a dislocated thumb.
Oh,
So, I got to go get my thumb popped back in,
ah.
and my whole arm was just totally black down the arm. And they're like, "Oh, you gotta play." It was my left arm, and they're
Now,
like,
at this time, man, are you still dealing with the pill situation, or you fell back
No,
on
no. So
that?
that was like a 2 month thing of woe is me, right?
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I kind of got
Yeah.
lost in my feelings. It was the first time I wasn't with my parents, or,
Yeah.
I didn't have Nick right at my back. He was at practices too.
Yeah.
I didn't really have my support system as much as I used to have them in the past, and that was new to
Un-
me.
Understand.
So I didn't call them to say, "Hey, I'm really upset about this.
Right.
What should I do?"
Right.
Instead, I thought, I'm not going to bother them. I'm just going to pop two and start over.
Yeah. I'll figure it out like
Yeah,
this.
it didn't get to any point where I had like a problem or had to talk
Okay.
to somebody or
Okay. That's
anything like
good.
that. It was just a 2 month thing, and then kind of just had one night where I had a bad experience, and it
Yeah.
just kind of was
Kind
like,
of caught you
this
like,
is
I
it.
got
But
this.
luckily, cold turkey, no problem.
Okay.
But
That's it.
I was running out of them anyway, so no one was going to refill it anyway. So it was kind of I would call it a 2 month distraction, if
Okay.
you would,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Um,
It up. Yeah. Okay. I just want
so
to make sure.
yeah, yeah, to make sense of that situation. So, we go and we play, and I'm okay, right? Because I have a giant problem on my left hand. And I go up to the coach at Dickinson College, and he goes, "Do you mind if I see what's under your bandage?" I'm like, "Nah, it's okay. I'd rather not." He goes, "Please, can I look?" And it's just totally black and blue. And I wound up getting an offer the next day from them. And what's funny is I was going to play. I wanted to go to play with Nick at Union College, with
Okay.
Nick and Drew at Union. I
You.
visited there. It was between Dickinson and Union. Nick and I have talked about this many times. There's actually videos of us arguing about it,
Oh,
from
for real.
like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think we really wanted to play with each other, and we really wanted to, be able to live with each other and be with each other for 3 years and experience college together. We got to do that via visiting each other and all that stuff, but I think it was a better situation. I think if I wound up going there, um, he would have held me accountable for things. I would have held him accountable for things. But now we're talking about college ball. It's a little bit different. You got a
Yeah.
team aspect. You got others involved.
Yeah.
So it was a tough decision, but I think I made the right one. As much
Yeah.
as I would have loved to go there and play with him, but I also had to think about how the only reason I really wanted to go there is because I wanted to be with my best friend.
Right.
So I couldn't necessarily make my decision where to go just off of that.
Right.
So that's kind of where my headspace was a little there. Um, so wound up, after that, left Lafayette, transferred to Dickinson, but I transformed myself that summer. I went
Now,
from
where is Dickinson?
265.
Where's Dickinson at for those who don't know?
Dickinson is in Easton. No, that's Lafayette, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like 25 minutes outside of Harrisburg. Centennial Conference plays like John Hopkins,
Yep.
um, Gettysburg. Good D3
Yeah.
schools.
Strong
Um,
D3 schools. Yeah.
Absolutely, and
So you
it's
was getting
also
your
interesting.
body right. You was getting your body right and everything.
I dropped from 265 to 232. I
Okay.
was running all the time,
Yeah.
and my ego kind of came back a little bit, because I
I'm
thought,
trim now. Listen, I don't got this gut now. Like people in trouble.
but I also thought that I didn't have it at Lafayette and I didn't succeed, you know,
Ah,
and
that was the missing element in your mind. You're like, man, I'm not being me.
if it could be more, I think what I would have preferred if it was sometimes it was genuine, and I would have preferred for it to be always an act. And I
Yeah.
think more when I moved into my senior year at Dickinson, it was all an act, right? And I was able to change kind of the difference between, you know, throwing a temper tantrum or, checking a guy to get in his head a little bit.
Yeah. 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 You started to learn the difference.
Yeah,
Now, how was this whole situation at Dickinson?
it was great. It was
It was.
great. I was with a lot of great guys. I was fortunate enough. One of our players on St. Anthony's, Mike Grant, was part of the '05 team. He wound up playing at Dickinson. James Spicer, who played at Chaminade, wound up playing with me at Dickinson. John Dumas, who also went to Chaminade, he played with me at Dickinson. So
Yeah.
they were big on the Long Island train.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to play with a bunch of the younger guys, some of the guys that I used to play with.
Yeah.
But it was a great time. I finally got my grades back up to where they should have been.
Yeah.
I kind of went back to when I was at Lafayette, and this is I kind of just saw this now. Like I said, at St. Anthony's, I kind of had a friend group outside of the sports, right?
Yeah.
Lafayette, they were my friends. My group of friends was my basketball team. We hung out all the time.
Yeah.
Then I go to Dickinson, and my main group of friends really wasn't necessarily the basketball team.
Okay.
I roomed with one of them for a year and loved Timmy to death. I would room with him anytime. But I met some guys in some fraternities and kind of hung out with them. And a lot of them
Yeah.
used to play basketball, but kind of quit. And it
Yeah.
was like 7 people on in the frat that were like 6'8" or above. It was like one of those kind of
What
cool
kind of frat was
situations.
that?
Exactly.
What
Exactly.
kind? What kind? You got 6, 8 guys all in the same frat? Oh,
You
they
you
were really.
don't you didn't want to go to one of those parties, trust
Oh,
me. It was just a
they
neat
seen
neat
you as soon as
overload.
you got on campus. He's like, that's our friend right now.
Yeah, and I don't like lifting weights, so I look like a shrimp compared to all of them. But no, Dickinson was cool, man. We didn't do much there.
Yeah.
I had a good career there, but that doesn't really mean much to me just because we didn't win as much.
Yeah.
Um, but I think what's great about Dickinson is I started to get life kind of by my senior year. I learned how to use the ego in the proper way. I
Yeah.
didn't use it like we talked in an improper way. And that's when I think I became a stronger player. And what's interesting, from my junior year to my senior year, I shot 150 less shots and I still averaged basically the same amount of points. I just started
Right.
to understand the game of basketball more. And I think you and I were talking about it before the show a little bit, that if we only had our mindset now and what to do with the ball now with our body from 21,
Yes.
it's over.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but you don't.
I
You
know,
don't.
and that's the beauty of everybody's journey, right? That's the beauty of maturity, right?
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of conversations like this. To hopefully this will ring out to some people that are in that age bracket that we once were,
Mm.
and they can use this as a resource, right? Obviously, there's a lot more resources right now, you know what I mean, than when we had even coming up. But just to have the information from people who walk the path.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you even being able to speak upon this and take us down memory lane and hear some of the ebbs and flows of your story, your journey, man. Because basketball is a big part. Sports is a big part, especially if you're an athlete, you have aspirations to continue to play at the next level. But it's also avenue for life, right?
Mm.
As we're both knowing it right now as grown men. So bring us up to speed, man. Where are we at today? What we got going on? And how do you feel like this journey has shaped you today?
Yeah, it's very funny where I am. So I'm a director of human resources in the
Okay.
pharmaceutical arena, which is very ironic. And everybody I tell from high school or college or anything like that, they're like, What are you talking about? Who did that?" But I think what makes me good at my job is my journey, right?
Yeah.
I can pick out a lie before someone says it, and I think that's from doing it myself when I was younger. I mean, you can't tell me you didn't go home to your mom's and tell her you weren't there.
Yeah,
Everybody.
listen, man. You're like, listen, man, I am an experienced.
No, I wasn't out.
Uh,
I was at the park playing.
yeah, you could like I seen when you came to the door how you was looking, man. I already know you on something, man. Like, listen, I was there. I was there. So yeah, I'm an expert at this because I used to do it.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? But no, so I do that. I guess I'll look forward to yeah, maybe I'll donate to St. Dom's. I'll give them some love. How about that? I'll donate to
Send
the
us, send
school.
us some black
I'll
and
I'll,
yellow
I'll
stuff.
ask I'll ask our CEO if we could send him over a couple of bucks. Um, I'm sure they would love that coming from me. But but yeah, man. So got living out in Jersey. Got a wonderful
Okay,
wife. Got a 2-year-old boy who loves baseball more than I think I did when I was 2 years old. But
beautiful.
I have videos of him throwing around the Patriot League basketball and really taking interest in kind of the things that I did. So that's super exciting,
Yeah,
for sure. but it's just things like this are important, right? Because I think you need to. Your past creates who you are, and I think you need to find the things that made you who you are today from your past and understand how you got there. And if you do those things, you can become a person you never really necessarily thought you could become. I I had a lot of growing up to do, much like everybody does in their life, and I am definitely in the place where I could say I did that at this point in my life, and I'm very happy of where my headspace is with that. So that's why I'm grateful for something like this, because I get to lay in bed at 10 o'clock and see what T posts and see what's happening, who he's talking about, who I forgot to talk about in the past 10 years, and who was great players and things of that nature. But I think talking about this can help strengthen who you are too, because it makes you think about all the things you used to do and how you are different now. And then, as you mentioned, I think that's what we should celebrate too, is how our past shaped our future.
I think that's well said, man. I'm a piggyback on those things. Is basketball like is the epicenter of our right, but
Yeah,
also we all have life experience and behind us, and then leading all the way up to currently, and it opens the door for conversation, and it opens the
yeah,
door for respectful conversation, right?
absolutely.
You have different walks of life, different neighborhoods, and basketball is kind of like we said, the epicenter of that. But we can have real talks about life as grown men. We're parents, right? Husbands, and that's kind of what we're looking to do. What do you think about the page overall, man?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think what we all lack is a respect for the history, right? And that's just because it isn't necessarily all the way out there. So when Long Island, what Newsday rather, did that All Decades team, I think that's when you kind of jumped on this as well.
Yes.
Um, I was like, wow, this is cool. It's making me think about because I coached at St. Anthony's 2 years after college as well.
Yep.
But it made me think of the guys I coached
Yeah.
and all those different things for sure.
Yeah, it brings all of the eras together, man, and it allows us to be able to network on a higher level. Whether it's just basketball, we can talk trash, we can talk some serious stuff. So
Yeah.
it brings a little bit of everything together, and it taps into some of our past glory, but it also brings in some of the things that we had to overcome.
Yeah.
That we had to overcome, and we can sit here and proudly say that we're still here, and it's definitely a blessing to do it.
And you could talk to people that you haven't talked to forever. Like, Luke
Facts.
Robinson posted that. Yeah, he definitely sent that into the crowd. When I was joking about, and I
Yes.
made I made that shot. Trust me. And but Luke. The funny story about Luke Robinson. He played at Hefal Hills East.
Yep.
Him and I had this weird life where we ran into each other everywhere. Like we would be at an SAT class. I would walk in the door. I would be at like this other thing for like studying for something. It was always studying, and he would walk in the door. We were
That's
just
crazy.
always like kind of, and then we kind of. He was at my 30th birthday party with me, and we had this big event at like Bethpage Black,
Yeah.
or Bethpage Green rather. We played a whole bunch of golf together. We
Golf.
had like 25 guys out there, and he's my mom's favorite because she thinks he's cute, right? So
Right, right, right.
she's like Luke, hop in the golf cart. I'll drive you.
I'll
I'll
drive you
drive
know
you
what to
over.
do. Everybody else
Yeah.
walk.
So, but I get to remember that now because of some love, right? Some
Yep.
appreciation, some kind words, and I
Yeah.
think that's the key to keep sharing those things, because they're not only gonna bring back memories, but they're gonna connect you with people.
I think that's well said, man. I think that's well said. That's the thing, man. Just really just bring a platform to give flowers and spread love. And obviously we can talk our trash and have our fun. But more importantly, man, be able to celebrate each other, man, especially while we're still here. So that's one of the main reasons that we got you on here. I want to learn about your backstory. I heard great things about you, seeing that you won a federation. That's never easy to do, especially especially at the time that you did it, man. It was a lot of strong teams, and just hearing your name and seeing you be able to be all Long Island at that time, man, I'm like, man, this guy has a story. So it's been much appreciated to be able to share this platform with you.
Likewise.
Before we leave, man, I
Hit me
have
with it.
I have to get your all-time starting five for St. Anthony's Friars, dude.
I'll take my five and Coach Kenny Atkinson. There you go. No, no,
Man,
no. Just kidding, Coach Ryan. I'm kidding. No, I mean, you got to have Kenny Atkinson and Schmidt in there. I think those are givens.
Ooh, that's a tough backcourt.
All time for sure. Um, you know, I would really be remiss to say anybody else besides, you know, myself, Kolakowski, Tracy, and Foley, just because, you know, we are that kind of last state federation team, thanks to Glens Falls not existing anymore. But, you know, St. Anthony's did just win states and had a great team, and Coach Logano led a tremendous group out there. And, you know, I think they surprised a lot of people this year
Oh,
too, and certainly proud of him. Coach Logano is a legend, by the way. He was my gym teacher at St. Anthony's. God help that man for dealing with me for the amount of time that he did.
God bless him.
But you know, great guy, great coach, and you know, I would say if I would put everybody. I would put Schmidt, Tracy, Foley, Kolakowski, and Kenny. I'd leave myself out because I can't put myself in front of those guys when, you know, they did so much all over the place, and you know, you throw Kenny in there, I think they're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I like it, man. You could, and that's the cool part, man. When you have a rich history of guys cooking, man, you have a nice selection to be able to pick from. But I really love the symmetry that y'all guys had. You had the '79 team come in, and
Crazy story, right?
yeah, man. I mean that you can't script it any better.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if Coach Logano holds a reunion for every team every year,
I'm doing it.
we know what he's
I'm like,
doing.
yo, we listen, man. We're gonna make this an annual thing,
Yeah.
and we're gonna see how much this is impacting our whole situation, man. But really, man, I really want to say thank you again. I want to say thank you, man. I know that you're a busy guy doing things, man. But just when I was able to reach out to you and ask, would you be kind enough to take a little of your time to share your story? You was like, absolutely. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. One thing before I go, Kings Park, let Nick Cerisi in the Hall of Fame. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? Dumb.
Oh,
So
do we got to get some
they got
petitions
to get
going?
him in there. Come on, Nick.
Do
We got to get you in. I don't like
who
it.
we got to talk to over there?
I don't know. I got to talk to Coach Shula, see if
Let's
he can pull some
put
strings.
it on the page, man. Let that
That boy was on that team from like seventh grade on. You want to talk about somebody? That's a star.
hey, put it on the page, man, so we get some. It's gonna hit somebody over there.
Yeah, I will. I got you, bro. I got you.
Well, I appreciate it, man. This has been a great time, man.
Yeah.
And listen, for those who are not who's tapping in with us, who are not, join the page. Make sure y'all hit that join button. And remember, Facebook does have a new rule that after 30 days, the lives will disappear. So as soon as this episode is done, I will be downloading it to my computer, and then we're gonna upload it to our tap in page on YouTube. So that way we can have the link, and I'll send that link to you, Tom, so you can share it with people. And
Awesome, man.
we're going to continue to build, man. So I really appreciate you, man. Once again, man, we give you your flowers, man, for you being a part of the Long Island culture, man, and also being able to be kind enough to share your backstory.
Yeah, and hey, before I do let you go, I got to talk about you for a second because you know you were your name, you know, Jason and AJ. I mean, they were all over Long Island. They were everywhere. You know, you were 2 years older than us, and you guys were legends. Like we talked about you, like AJ's there, you know, Tristan's there, Jason's there.
Right,
Like that's what everybody said, you know.
right.
And I think. What's very special about you guys in that Amityville squad is it was so strong for so long.
Yeah.
And everybody you talk to is mad humble about it and just real and straight up. And you know, shout out to the kids and the parents and the coach over there because that's a program that I certainly look up to when I see the name. So
That means a lot to me, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. So we obviously we wanted to make sure we hold it down, but we also wanted to show a respect to the ones that came before us, and then even to our opponents, man. So I thank you for even recognizing that, man. That means a lot to me for sure,
straight up, my
man.
man.
Yeah. Till next time, we're gonna rock out. I'll holler at you offline, man, and we'll keep building, man. But I really appreciate it.
Thank you as well, man. Bye, everyone. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Have a good night, dude.
See you, Tris.
Later.